Ciao everyone, it's Amy, the roaming historian, and I am at the Museo del Foro, in other words, the Museum of the Roman Forum, the Foro Romano. And this museum used to be in another area. It had been started by Giacomo Boni, who was the archaeologist who uncovered a lot of the excavation of the Roman Forum. Some of it's kind of disturbing. Like here we see, obviously, bones on display. These are parts from a burial. And this trench was used for 2 human burials. And so the ashes of a girl about 11 to 13 years old, and then a fibula with a twisted bronze bow. And so there's also grave goods in there, including vases and ringlets, a spindle. Here we see more of the excavations and what was found. I have never seen this museum. This museum has, but more recently, here is a jawbone you can see that looks, probably they say 6 to 9 month-year-old girl for that jawbone there, and a bronze bracelet. More of the goods. This shows a model of the burial area. And so when Giacomo Boni was doing his excavations, this is, if you're familiar with Roman Forum, you probably will know the Tempio di Antonino e Faustino, the Temple of Antoninus and Faustina. And it's the one, it looks, it's very, very well preserved because it was turned into a church. It's right off the Via Sacra. So this was right off of the Via Sacra, right behind the church. That column there will signify where the church was. And so we can see, or where the temple was at the time, the ancient temple. In medieval times, the Catholic faith turned it into a church, which saved it. And then you see things like here we see a shepherd's farewell, a bearded figure that is shown also usually with a crook, like a shepherd would have. Then you see other scenes like men working on building the city. We see some fighting scenes. Here is a very lovely horse torso. What looks to me like probably was some type of, it says this was a horse. It definitely has the shape of the body of a horse. And another human. Here we see a battle scene. And so these friezes all came from the Basilica Aemilia. And then you get to see a little bit more. Well, now we're entering the room that would be the Temple of Venus in Rome, the Tempio di Venere Roma. And these, trying to play with the light a little bit so you can see a little bit better. We're noticing the stance. We're noticing changes and movement in the legs. If you'll notice the contra, I think it's called contrapposto. I'm not an art historian. And so more friezes. A statue of Hercules there. Excuse me, I'm trying to not bother people. And then there's this lovely courtyard here. And it goes throughout, and it takes you throughout a lot of the Roman Forum, really contextualizes it in a way that I especially find incredibly helpful. I've had guides, and I usually recommend a guided tour. I'll put some in the description box below. I really think that a guided tour is honestly the only way that you're really going to understand and have this come to life, because it's great that they have this now. At least we can see it here, and here we see the Via Sacra, the sacred way. You can see some ceramics and things that were found. But knowing this doesn't even begin when you're out there there isn't a lot of placards to describe what you're seeing. And so to tell the stories like about the Vestal Virgins, you really do need a guide. Plus you've forgotten, you maybe came in here at the beginning because this is at the start of one of the many entrances to the Roman Forum. And so I came in the exact opposite way of this. So I'm actually have gone all the way through the Forum before getting to this. And you very well may, just depending on what entrance you use on what given day, miss this completely. So I always recommend a guide. Like I said, I'll give you some ideas below, but just reading books, I mean, you all know I'm a historian. I have a PhD in history. This is certainly not my area. I'm an American historian that looks at the law, and laborers. So this is not really my field of study, but even if it was, I think that you just need someone who spends their life and that this is their one job, is to focus on this area. All right, and here I'll show you some sacrificial layers. All right, well, ciao for now. I'm going to head off and I'm going over to the Palatine Hill and checking out some more of these super sites.